Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at USAA.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Say his name and he appears. I believe it said.
What's up, good people? Happy Monday. It is the first day of the week, and we just got through watching Monday Night Raw. As I mentioned to you guys, I believe last time, whenever you saw me on last, we're going to do post shows from here on out for the rest of the summer because the mayor's schedule is very full. So I hope you guys enjoyed Monday Night Raw, but I wanted to make sure I came and recapped everything with you guys before you guys tucked your heads off to bed this evening. We had a very interesting Monday Night Raw, and I know we're just a week out from SummerSlam, and the SummerSlam picture is almost pretty much full. 2-night SummerSlam, first time we're getting that, and we just got our Tribal Chief back, and we closed the show with the Tribal Chief. But we're going to just jump right into things because I do got some thoughts on everything. We kicked off the show with CM Punk. Pretty much proclaiming how he got off track a little bit, had his rivalries, and now he's back to try to get back on track with what he wants, which is the world title. He won the gauntlet match last week, and he's set to take on Gunther at SummerSlam. They're just starting to build this match. Only a 2-week build, maybe 3 max, if you look at it that way, that we're going to get Gunther versus CM Punk. And honestly, I think that what's good, Lewis? Honestly, I think the right way to build this is probably just more verbal vitriol like we got tonight. CM Punk being the older guy, definitely a step slower, and going through saying like, hey, you can say all these words you want. The bell's going to ring, and I'm just going to ragdoll your ass. You can't hang with me in the ring. I'm the ring general. And that's honestly, we've needed to see that version of Gunther for so long because I feel like the majority of this year, Gunther just been getting punked. Like he'll have these promos, and then he'll get punked. And no pun intended. But then we just have all this stuff where he's our champion. And even with the stuff you see online where TKO isn't sold on him being a champion because he don't put butts in seats, whatever. But he's the most probably revered person in the ring as a whole. So I think we need to see more of his Gunther and more of him backing it up in ring. So, I mean, this might be the first time we see Gunther and Punk for a title. I don't think it'll be the last, but I think Gunther has to go strong into this match and also be dominant against Punk. I really feel like he has to be dominant against CM Punk and just put to bed all the rest that he is the guy on Monday nights. Sindel saying, has his punishment finally ended? Because they've been straight humiliating Gunther for a while. Yes, they have. Bose is saying, I'm sure Gunther versus Punk will be good, but overshadowed by the IWC not wanting to admit that Seth Rollins actually hurt. I think that because WWE has no timetable what it's making. Yeah. You know what? If you've seen the videos, I mean, I think they've been showing pretty clearly that Seth is playing with his daughter, but he is rocking 2 of the crutches. So he's going to be out for a while. I know Seth is an Iron Man, but he's getting up there in age too. The body just doesn't heal that fast. The real cool, like silver lining and everything is that the briefcase is valid for a year. So we saw tonight the company pivots and they pivot into new things. And I think that's what's beautiful right there is that it's very easy to pivot into new storylines. We saw that in the closing segment of the show, that we just tie it back into the betrayal at WrestleMania, where it's more about Roman Reigns getting his lick back against Paul Heyman and his new faction. It's less about Seth versus Roman, because you got to believe that that's where we were going at SummerSlam, is the one-on-one between Seth and Roman. And now we just kick that can down the road a little further. But I think I honestly don't know what to expect with Punk versus Gunther. I want to believe it'll be a good match, but I think there's going to be other matches on the card that far overshadow that in both women's and men's divisions. So I think this will be something that we just see Gunther be dominant like he should be, and we get back to the chase. I think the real story is the chase for CM Punk finally getting gold in his time back on Monday night, in his time back in WWE. We started off our first match of the night, big meaty men bump and meet. And to get back to this rivalry of old friends, I think they can keep going with this. I wouldn't mind seeing this on the SummerSlam card because they're now 1-1. Sheamus picked up the victory after Rusev tried to use the shillelagh and a failed attempt to distract the ref. Sheamus hits a bro kick. I think the hard-hitting action between this man and the story they're telling in the ring, I mean, it opening up the show is good. I feel like there's so much other dialogue stories on Raw that are really overshadowing how good this could be. And I'm going to be real with y'all. I'm going to blame Dominic Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio is holding up the men's mid-card division with his title reign. This is absolutely a match that should be centered around the IC title picture, at least number one contendership, something there. And Dom is doing us a disservice as champion. It was a great moment at WrestleMania, but now I feel like the way they're telling the story with Rusev and Sheamus, it needs to involve some type of gold, because they're giving us primetime PLE classics when they fight on Monday Night Raw. And now they're 1-1, and I can only imagine what the rubber match is going to be. But like I said, I wouldn't mind it taking place at SummerSlam. I think this should be kind of like how we did with Andrade and Melo, maybe a best of 7, that they just run it that way. But it's too good to not have some type of stakes, and I hope we get it at SummerSlam. The guys deserve to compete on a PLE for sure. We had some moments backstage. Of course, the highlight or some of the lighter moments tonight involved AJ Styles as a valet, AJ Styles as a janitor, AJ Styles as medical, chasing around Dominic just to see if he gets cleared. We now know that Dominic is cleared, and that match is going to take place at SummerSlam. I have to believe that while AJ had his moment at TNA, almost ordaining Leon Slater in the X Division, I don't believe that AJ Styles is going to carry Intercontinental title picture. I think it's a good landing spot for him, but I think Dom is going to retain and continue this little cowardly title reign that he's on. I think they're also trying to cool Dom off a little bit, make him seem like more of a cowardly heel, because Dom gets cheered. People love Dom. People love Dom in the streets, at these signings. They love him in the audience. He's not getting that chorus of boos anymore, so you can see that they're trying to take him away from that so we can remember that he's a heel. But now that we have that match at SummerSlam, I don't know what to think. We did also see Lyra Valkyria and Bayley have their moment backstage after that banger of a match last week. They get tag team title shots. This was requested by Bayley for some reason. Bayley's in some weird limbo as well, and I don't know why. I feel like she just needs to go to SmackDown or maybe do an NXT stint, because I don't know what we're doing with Bayley, where she's just the third wheel in this IC title picture, that she's requesting a tag team match with somebody that she doesn't even like. But our second match of the night, number one contenders match, LWO, New Day, Creeds. This match was overshadowed by the beef backstage with Dragon Lee and El Grande Americano. Dragon Lee saying that he's disrespecting the Luchas, things like that. Probably my favorite moment of the night. Whatever you think about this new version of El Grande Americano, him just spamming Que Paso while he's fighting, funny as shit. Funny as shit. Just the Que Paso, Que Paso. I don't know what Ludwig Kaiser did to deserve this, but I'm here for it. He just cut a full Spanish promo. I almost want to make sure he's El Grande Americano even when Chad gets back. That shit was great. But back to the tag match. I didn't like the way the match ended per se, but I kind of knew that we were going to get the LWO. So this is the next chapter of the LWO versus Judgment Day. You'll probably see some stuff with Ray berating Dom again. Just dumb decision all around. I don't think the New Day should have got a tag team rematch so soon, but it would have made sense for like the War Raiders to be involved in this match, or just to give the Creeds a shot. I don't know why we can't do heel versus heel matches and we just put the LWO in a meaningless match that nobody believes they can win. But it's good to see the LWO, Cruz and Joaquin Wilde back in action. You know, Joaquin Wilde had that scary injuries maybe some months ago. And these guys can absolutely fly. I love the moment in the match where he did the roll up with the legs and the feet with both members of the New Day for a pinfall. Innovative stuff like that is cool. It's just the fact that we don't see the LWO on TV often enough to believe that they're valid contenders, which bothers me. So now they have a tag team title shot just for the sake of them being the babyface tag team. Also didn't like that Wild pretty much no-sold the Midnight Hour or whatever we're calling New Day's finisher now. No-sold the backbreaker just to roll out of it and get a roll up. That I don't know what we're doing there, but LWO versus Finn and JD in a couple weeks, and I think we know that the Judgment Day is going to retain there, and whatever this chapter of LWO versus Judgment Day is, whatever number we're at. But we'll continue to see the New Day and Grieve backstage. They had their moment with Grayson Waller, who I guess is an honorary member of the New Day now. So whatever we're doing with that, A-Town Down Under is no more. And Grayson Waller is pretty much groveling at the New Day for attention. So I think Waller deserves better than that. I mean, we don't really get Miz TV no more. I don't know why we're not getting the Grayson Waller effect as a segment every week, but maybe this leads up to that. We had a promo with Becky Lynch next, who pretty much is talking about how she's carrying this division, saying that she should be at the Happy Gilmore 2 movie premiere, but she's there in Texas. She's really taking, I guess, to heart this whole Becky Hogan thing and berating the rest of the division, berating Lyra. We now know that this match will need to have a determined winner. If Becky wins, Lyra can no longer challenge for the IC title. And I forget what Lyra's stipulation was, but Lyra requested for it to be no count out, no DQ. So we'll see. It has the potential to be match of the night, but the way the next match went makes me feel that Bayley's going to cost Lyra at SummerSlam, because right now Bayley has nothing to do. But the Becky Hogan stuff, even the subtle gestures to her wearing red and yellow every week, I think it's good character work. I think it's going to get stale because we keep running back Becky and Lyra. But, I mean, I think this is all being done to position Lyra as not only a mainstay in the women's division, but if she can't challenge for the IC, I think she automatically goes to start challenging for the women's title. And I think putting her in that space against Naomi, who's now there, can be a good thing, because Lyra has had nothing but good matches since being on the main roster. So I feel like maybe the IC title picture is almost holding her back, whereas Becky can do some things to help elevate everybody around the division, and obviously is getting the title on PLEs. Sandil says, my question is, why isn't the women's U.S. title being treated like the IC? I think we know why. And I'm not going to say it's right or it's fair, because you took the belt off Zelina in order to, Zelina is doing a lot of great stuff with socials just to put the belt over, but you want to put it on Julia, who can kind of be a workhorse as well, but they need to start allowing Julia to fight everyone in the division, or at least carry the title to multiple shows. Them bringing back the Kabuki Warriors was a mistake, because either of them could have been the IC. I agree. And I really, while I like the Kabuki Warriors, and I think the Kabuki Warriors thing is more of a bringing Asuka along slowly, because she's still rocking that really big knee brace, because Kairi's been on a heater. I think Kairi can float in any division right now, but I think they want to bring Asuka along slowly, so she doesn't have to carry that much work rate. But we had that moment backstage, and I think it's very interesting. I think I saw a tweet that said Asuka only calls Io-chan when there's friction, And then Stephanie Bakura walked up and called Io San, which was interesting, which set up our main event match of the night, which was Stephanie Bakura as well taking on Io Sky, which we'll talk about that in a second. I like Naomi is perfect on Monday Night Raw. Her interaction with Stephanie Bakura, calling her Stephanie Bakero, whatever, those little interactions with the women's division only help keep things balanced. And it's like we're getting less Rhea, which I think we were getting way too much Rhea before, which is overshadowing the division because she is the biggest star on Raw, I think men or women. But now Naomi helps flesh that out a little bit more with her interactions with the rest of the women's division, which I think is amazing. Give me 1 second, guys, and make sure my charger is plugged in. That's strange. Either way, that led us to our next match later this evening. Our next match was the tag team title match for the women's division, which we had. Excuse me. Make sure my charger's plugged in. We had Lyra and Bailey. Sorry, guys. Lyra and Bailey taking on the Judgment Day. I think Raquel had another stellar match. We ended the Becky intervening, taking out Lyra, and then Raquel getting a much-needed pinfall over Bailey. So that effectively takes Bailey out of the picture of both title matches with nothing to do, and I believe she's going to have a scoring heart heading into SummerSlam. But I thought it was a good match overall. I didn't like the camera angle on the kick that Raquel gave to Dom. They didn't do her any favors on that. But Raquel being the most decorated woman in the women's tag team division, this is kind of like her spot. And I think she can only improve from here and help bring Roxanne along the way. So even them taking on Charlotte and Alexa at SummerSlam, I really feel like Judgment Day should retain there. Those should be the titles that they hold until we figure out whatever happens with Liv and Liv actually returns to programming. Next, we had Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross. Kross finally got a win over Sami Zayn, got a win on Monday Night Raw. A huge moment. Even though he had to cheat the win, you can hear how the audience was so invested in Karrion Kross getting a win. I thought that was fun. I don't like that he didn't get an entrance. It's like we're still edging the Karrion Kross stuff, even though fans are clamoring to get Karrion Kross on television. But I think him kind of putting Sami Zayn away in the story we're telling as far as Kross wanting Sami Zayn just say he's not a good guy. I think there's a lot that can be done with that, especially if we play it all the way into WrestleMania season where Sami eventually becomes champion. I think that would be a great moment. Io Sky versus Stephanie Bakura. I think my computer's dying, so I'm going to speed through this. I don't know what else I can say other than this match needs to take place at WrestleMania. Io Sky, damn near, maybe without question, might be the best wrestler in the world, man or woman. She is the best bout machine. She is. And Stephanie Bakura is like right there, 1B. And I'm glad that this was a dusty finish because neither woman could really afford a loss here. And there's moments in the match where both of them look strong. I love the 619 into the head scissor slam on the mat. I love the devil's kiss on the apron, bringing it back inside and giving her some more. These moments like that were just huge. I love that both ladies not only told a story in the ring, but kind of had that one-upsmanship. And I think when you look at the women's division for the next few years, like that's the big money match. Whenever they do that, that's the big money match. But like, yeah, I agree, Bose. They put themselves in a corner because you can't have either woman lose. So, I mean, what do you do when you do stuff like that? You have Chelsea Green be a hater and interrupt the match with the Secret Herbalist. I think that was a good call. I think the easy money is on seeing a triple threat next week with Stephanie, Rhea, and Io versus the Herbists and maybe Naomi. I think that's more than likely what you'll see next week. And Bose is saying that you might say 6-woman tag at SummerSlam with Stephanie, Nikki, and either Brie or Bailey. I don't think Bailey's going to be on the card, bro. I really don't. And I think that's what's going to cause her to kind of turn heel and turn on Lyra and cost Lyra that match where she can't challenge for the title anymore. I think that's where we're heading with that. But again, Io versus Stephanie needs to happen on a PLE sooner rather than later. And that might be the biggest women's match you can do in the entire company right now because they put on a classic. Now, getting to our main event segment, I love that we're all right, y'all. We back. I don't know what happened, but my laptop did just shut off. But if you guys are still with me in the chat, send me some emojis or something. So, where was I at? We were talking about the tribal chief segment and how the pivot is important. Now, we know that Seth Rollins is hurt. We don't know how long he's out for. It's a big cloud of mystery. But I like how Roman Reigns used a pivot to tell the story of the betrayal at WrestleMania, pretty much saying, like, Paul Heyman broke with the family, that he was just, that Roman Reigns made him a mainstay in the family and not just a advocate or a, a business friend, things like God's work. And now he also referenced his 5 children, said he was back home curating the bloodline while Paul Heyman was trying to throw salt in his name, which I thought those were interesting wrinkles because it also plants the seeds of there is no friendship or alliance with CM Punk and Roman Reigns, despite that you have this new faction with Paul Heyman, Bronson Reed, and Braun Breaker at the helm as well. I did like that Paul Heyman pivoted away from Seth Rollins and saying, like, hey, we have a leadership void. You can fill that leadership void here because we work better together than against each other. Those are all very nice intricacies that they can build on later on if Seth Rollins feels like Heyman's a snake and it's like, hey, I can't trust you. And then they make Braun the leader because it seems very much like they're positioning Braun to be the breakout star from the faction anyway. Just from some of his in-ring work, him being a constant protector of Paul Heyman, him even taking a little bit of like a little inspiration from Roman Reigns in matches as far as doing the push-ups, kind of like his uncle used to do, but also talking and berating his opponents like he did with Penta last week. Those are all great things that position Braun as the next main event star. I wish that Melo, who is clearly the best promo of that class, I wish we started positioning Melo like that, but clearly there's something really brewing with Braun, and maybe even they give Braun the briefcase and they just hot shot this thing right away down the road if Seth can't come back before Mania. I'm not sure. But this is a great way to close the show and a great way to position Roman Reigns as back full time with the company against his opposition, which is Paul Heyman, Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker. And I think the big money match they can do, I don't think it'll happen until later this year. Maybe at a Saturday night main event, we get Roman Reigns versus Braun Breaker 1-on-1. And I think that can be huge whenever they do it. But I like that Paul Heyman tried to plant seeds of getting back a Roman Reigns. I love that Braun Breaker is pretty much taking the leadership role in the group unofficially. And we'll see what happens over the next course of like several weeks as we get around SummerSlam, because I don't believe Roman Reigns is on the card yet. So maybe that's a good way to do a tag team match. Maybe you get Breaker, Bronson versus Jay, as well as Roman Reigns. And about damn time that we start seeing more interactions with Roman and Jay on screen. Because I think that was missing a lot, even when they pieced things back together. You didn't have those moments when Jay was on his quest to become champion and becoming main event Jey Uso. I think you need more of those, and maybe Roman's the one that puts the battery in his back to say, no, you can beat Gunther. You go do it. And because I don't think we need Roman to be a champion again on the Raw brand. I think we can be far away from that, and Roman could just be the face that elevates the entire platform that is WWE. But of course, Roman got tired of the talk from Braun, and Bronson starts the attack. They get the upper hand. Main event Jey Uso makes the save, helps up his cousin. If you're seeing all the social media clips, we have clips of Roman Reigns yeeting with his cousin after the show went off air. Excellent Monday Night Raw overall. I think that final match and that final segment really helps see the direction we're going the rest of the year while Seth Rollins is hurt. It'll be based on Roman Reigns kind of reclaiming his yard, if you will, and really making Heyman pay for betraying his family. I think you'll start to see the foundation of the bloodline start forming again. Maybe you'll have some interactions with Romy and Sammy versus Karrion Kross. I think there's a lot of good that can be had despite the injury to Seth Rollins in this time. And I think the pivot right now is very important to see like exactly what we're going to get for the next several months. But by hook or by crook, Io Sky, who in my opinion is the best wrestler in the company, man or woman, needs to have a main event match sometime in the next year or two against Stephanie Bakar. Has to happen. Even if it's just like we got to finish the score to settle who's the best, there's no titles involved, I'd be down for that. That's to happen. Because we've got teased twice with non-finishes, and the matches both were stellar. So there's chemistry there. It has to work out that way. But again, that was Monday Night Raw, y'all. I've been rocking with y'all for a minute. Thank you guys for pulling up so late for the post show. I appreciate that. We'll be back. I don't believe we did a WWT live today. Everybody's kind of in constraints from their schedules. Everybody's a little bit of everywhere. But I know the kayfabe crew will be on tomorrow night, I believe at 6 p.m. You might be able to catch me there on with the fellas and the team there. And I think we'll be back for WWT Live on Wednesday and Friday this week. Also, while we had Slammiversary, I know we're coming up on SummerSlam. There will be a watch-along post-show for that. So keep it locked with us, man. There's a lot of good things happening on WWT that we will share as we get closer to these events. I know some of us might be out at Comic-Con in San Diego the next week. So if you're out there in the streets, make sure you holler at us. We're always down, catch a flick with y'all, or at least talk some wrestling in person. But again, you guys know where you can find me when I want to be found. Says like it shows on the screen. Follow the TikTok, Said is the Answer on TikTok as well as Instagram. I'll be posting content on there, all my interviews. Let me know what else y'all want to see. And follow a lot of our creators here because we're all doing great stuff. Stone Cold Courtney Rice, the Councilman, of course, Honey, TK, who has a birthday coming up, the Professor, Jacob, who's posting a lot of sneaker drop articles every single month with Anscape. We're all doing great things. If I missed anybody, make sure you show us all some love on the socials. This has been Women's Wrestling Talk. I'm your mayor. This is our usual post show for Monday nights. Until next time, y'all, it is Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. Peace, y'all.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WW Talk Pod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.